What a fight it was. This past weekend, finally, we got the Undisputed Heavyweight Championship on the line between probably the two best fighters in the heavyweight division, between Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk. I was really looking forward to this fight coming on, especially after it had the delay that it had. It was supposed to happen in February, I believe mid-February. Um, I believe they lived up to the bill. One thing I can say about this fight, especially not making my prediction video, but I did believe during my prediction of the fight that Tyson Fury was going to be the bigger man, and also since being the bigger man, also being the stronger man between the two. And I really thought that he was going to put forth more of a different type of look in this fight. I did not agree with the way that he approached this fight. I'll go into that later. But when going into this fight, um, especially noticing Alexander Usyk, his footwork was phenomenal. I mean, it was phenomenal. Usyk's footwork to get himself into the fight and inside the range that he needed to be able to go to, especially in the mid to short range, to get the jabs to the body, slow down Tyson Fury, put him onto the ropes, and being the aggressor in the first two rounds, which I believe he did win. Really set the tone really well for the early signs of the fight for Alexander Usyk, making him go to the ropes, pushing him backwards, again setting up the body shots for the overhand left to be landed, flush a few times in over the fight, especially again during the first two rounds that Usyk had. His footwork really set him up really nice and set him up a lot of punches that I believe that he just landed clean based off just off his footwork. But then later into the middle rounds and the meat of the fight, Tyson Fury started to turn the tides his way. He started to press on the gas, started to turn his way into what he needed to do, and he started to be the aggressor to the fight and started to push the pace that he wanted to set, and also as well set the tone the way that he wanted to set the tone. I was looking at the fight and I started to notice that trend, especially during the middle rounds. And this is the fight that I imagined in my mind when I was predicting this fight for Tyson Fury to win, whether it be by knockout or unanimous decision. However, he was going to pull that off, but he started to turn the tide. He started to land nice, slick body shots to Alexander Usyk, knowing that Alexander Usyk had a lot of issues and a lot of problems with Daniel Dubois and Anthony Joshua in previous fights that he had. Landing shots to the body was an issue for Usyk because he did not take those punches well. He did get his way, and he had his little leeway, and having the ref, giving him his time and low blows and things of that nature. But he does have an issue with the body, and Tyson Fury was doing the smart thing, as in pushing his pace, setting his tone, and fighting the way that he needed to fight in order to win and prolong the winning of the fight. So he started to set up his jabs, getting into the range, landing uppercuts, landing right hands, landing to the body, very slick shots, very looking like, again, the fight that I believe Tyson Fury was going to do or was going to have in order to win this fight. Then, around, I believe, the eighth round, Alexander Usyk turned it around again. Similar shades to what I believe the second Anthony Joshua fight that they had, where Usyk was doing his thing. He was winning the fight. He was winning the rounds. And then Joshua started to turn the tide. And he had momentum on his side when it started to swing his way. And while that was happening, um, it just looked like Joshua had it in the bag. And then all of a sudden, the next round, that Joshua has a big round. Usyk comes back, and he's back with a vengeance. So similar shades to that fight, Usyk comes back on a rampant rage where he is just starting to, again, momentum shift again. Something that I did not believe that actually was going to happen. I thought that the story of the fight was going to be something similar to where Usyk was going to have strong leads in the front, bagging rounds in the beginning, working to the body, coming in front, with the footwork, being on the inside, and then Fury was gonna, later towards the round just start to wear and tear. But now, no, what actually happened in the fight is that Usyk started to turn the tide again, like how he usually does towards the end of the fight. And I believe again towards this eighth round, um, Usyk he decided to plant his flag and decided that he is not going to give up and give ground, and he swung momentum his way. Then I goes into the ninth round, where I believe it was a right hook, if not a right hook, a left hook. I believe it was a right hook that stunned Tyson Fury and had him stumbling and bumbling all over the ring and all along the ropes. A lot of people, controversially said that they believe that the fight should have been stopped and the referee should have called it off or should have called the count earlier. I personally do not have any issues or believe that was very controversial, in my opinion. It is an undisputed heavyweight championship on the line for both fighters. It is a very important fight for both fighters, and not just for both fighters, but for just the sake and history and legacy of boxing, because we haven't had a undisputed heavyweight championship fight for 20 odd years or something along those lines, and it had a lot of weight to it. So I not that I agree, but I can understand where the referee is coming from. Giving Tyson Fury the time to try to fight off and do something, even though he was seriously hurt and had almost the rights to call off the fight. Goes down. Tyson Fury goes down, and by the time he comes up, it's already the end of the round. So it's it's poetic. I believe it's poetic because you have shades of what you've seen before from Alexander Usyk. Again, to touch on what I touched on before with the Anthony Joshua fight. You can go back the same with Tyson Fury and him surviving his fight that he had with his trilogy of fights with Deontay Wilder, and him getting knocked down and coming right back up and surviving and doing the things that Tyson Fury has done before. And then that goes into the 10th, 11th, and 12th round, the championship rounds of the fight. Usyk was again pressing on the gas. I believe in the 10th round, he tired himself out because, 10 rounds into a fight, you're throwing a lot of punches, you're trying to get this guy out of there, you know what I mean? You can punch yourself out. It happens. And he kind of took the round off a little bit. Fury as well kind of took the round off a bit because, he's trying to get his bearings under himself and trying to be able to, mount some type of offense and also be wary on defense and not really put yourself out there. Um, it was a, pretty even, pretty uneventful round. And then I believe the 11th round, Usyk started to, mount his way back in, try to get the momentum and stick on the momentum on his side. And then in the 12th round, I believe Fury had a good comeback round. He finally started to weather a little bit of the storm. He was able to land, again, back slick body shots, set more of his pace, set more of his tone. And that goes to the end of the fight. Um, Off first view, I haven't been able to watch the fight again, but off first view of the fight, my prediction would be Usyk won the fight or was a draw. Close fight. Close fight. I I agree. Similar to the 114, 113 scorecards, I believe that was two of the scorecards. I know one did go to Fury. I know it was a split decision. And I've seen online. Oh wow. Yeah, I've seen online where a lot of people believe that Tyson Fury won the fight 114-113. I can see that scorecard. I can see that scorecard. I, again, if you were to ask me to be a judge, if I was being paid to be a judge, and this is the fight that I was judging, I would lean more towards Usyk 114, 113. Again, if I didn't see that as the fight, then I could see it as a draw. Um, wow. One thing I can say is some of the thoughts that I have for the fight was that, again, Usyk's footwork was phenomenal. Getting himself into the range that he needed to be able to go to, medium range, inside range, inside the pocket, landing great body shots, landing the overhand left, doing his thing in his style. If there was going to be a winner, I believe again it would have been Alexander Usyk. But if there was going to be a rematch, and this is a prediction that I will be making, if there's going to be a rematch, I believe that Fury has invoked a rematch clause, and there was a rematch clause into this fight, which should be correct because I believe either way, both of these fighters are completely same level, high competition between each other. I do believe that Tyson Fury will beat Alexander Usyk in the rematch. To touch on that, what I was saying earlier before about Tyson Fury having the wrong setup or the wrong game plan heading into this fight. I believe what he should have done is what he should have done in the second fight against Deontay Wilder. Now, Deontay Wilder is not any type of caliber of boxer compared to Alexander Usyk, but similar to the style of leaning on him, using your size, using your weight, bearing down. You are the bigger man. It does not make sense for Tyson Fury, the bigger man, to be on the ropes and fighting as if like he is, you know, I'm not saying his defense is not good. Of course his defense is good, especially as a bigger man, but you need to be the aggressor of the two, especially working with Sugar Hill. He has worked as being the aggressor of the two. And while he was working as the aggressor of the two, especially in the Deontay Wilder fight, the second one, of course, and the third one, you can tell that him bearing down and him putting his weight and putting on the pressure and being the front forward aggressive fighter compared to him just boxing around and doing what he was doing before in his career, before he was fighting with Sugar Hill. Um, it was working because obviously he was showing his talents and he was obviously doing the things that he needed to be able to do in order to be the great boxer and the boxer that he is now. But to show and prove again that Tyson, you are the bigger man. There's a point and no reason to you know being behind and being put forth, pushed back like that again by the smaller man who again before was middleweight and cruiserweight champion beforehand. You talked a lot about it. You talked about him being a rabbit and him being smaller and him being a middleweight and this and that. You had to go out there and prove that, and he did in the middle rounds. But again, towards the end, towards the beginning of that fight, he just showed a lack of game plan and switching his game plan throughout during the fight. Again, I believe if he listens to his corner more first, and not only listen to his corner, but as well as come in with the mindset of you being the bull and not being the matador in this fight, he will be able to show and he will be able to prove the saying of a big good man beats a small good man or a small great man. It always tends to happen. It happens a lot in boxing, especially when a smaller man from a smaller division comes up to fight a bigger man. And I believe with that all happening, that's why I believe that rematch, if there is a rematch, excuse me, that Tyson Fury will be successful in that. And if that is not the case for them to be able to have a rematch, then I could see Fury possibly fighting AJ. I mean, AJ can fight Usyk again, but that would be their third fight in the trilogy that Usyk won twice, even though the fights were pretty close. I mean, I'd be interested, but I wouldn't be very interested into the fight. Um, but I think it makes more sense money wise for Fury to go after Joshua, especially after Joshua's been looking on the rise, looking very well on a four fight win streak, and now working with Ben Davidson and working and looking like his old self back. And Tyson Fury is a little bit on the decline. You know, a lot of people think that he lost to Ngannou. And then you have the Usyk fight, where it's a very competitive, very technical and tactical chess match between two great technicians and boxers. Um, yeah, I think that that's the only thing that makes sense for Tyson Fury and for Usyk. If he continues to fight and he continues to go on, I mean, I only see maybe a rematch, and if Fury wins the rematch, like I predict that possibly could happen, then maybe a trilogy. You could set up a trilogy with these two guys. But if not, and he wins the rematch, then I think it's pretty much a career for Usyk. I think he could just call it quits and be done with his career because there's pretty much not much he can do. I mean, being a cruiserweight undisputed champion to then a heavyweight undisputed championship, to being pound for pound number one, in ring and having the lineage, having the legacy that he has now, and the record and the people that he has beat on his record, it he will be considered probably one of the best heavyweights of this era, maybe all time. Maybe you can consider him all time, but definitely of this era. Definitely. And he's proven that, especially with this fight. I want to thank you guys for watching this video and continue to watching more videos. And if you enjoy this content, you can like, comment, subscribe. And thank you.